There's a brutal truth about attraction that no one tells you. It's not your looks. It's not your money. It's not even the smooth lines you rehearsed in the mirror. It's something deeper, something untouchable. And once you understand this, once you embody this, something wild starts to happen. Women start noticing. They lean in. They linger. And you're not even trying. Because here's the truth, women are not attracted to men who chase. They're attracted to men who carry gravity. Think about it. Gravity doesn't ask you to come close. It just pulls you in. And most men, they're doing the opposite. They're begging, pleading, convincing, flexing. They're leaking insecurity with every word. Every compliment is secretly a test. Did she like that? Is she interested? Am I enough? And that's exactly what repels her. Because deep down, every woman is wired to follow strength. Not loud, boastful, performative strength, but the silent, grounded, unshakable strength. That's what this brutal truth is about. When you don't need her, she needs you. When you don't chase, she wonders why. When you're calm, focused, and unavailable, she starts to lean in. Now, I'm not saying ignore women. I'm saying master yourself. Because the man who has himself under control, he becomes the rarest breed in the room. Look around. Most men are slaves to validation, slaves to lust, slaves to attention. They break their routines to reply fast. They drop priorities just to please her. They cancel their peace just to avoid her silence. And guess what? She sees all of it. She feels all of it. And she loses interest. Now let me ask you something real. When was the last time you felt totally unbothered? Like you didn't need to impress anyone, like you were already whole. That moment right there, that's the version of you that women crave. Not the performer, not the pleaser, not the showman, the centered man, the still man, the one who looks at chaos and blinks once. You want to know what makes 9.7% of women find a man irresistible? It's when they sense they can't control him, not emotionally, mentally, not sexually. She can't bait him, can't guilt him, can't trap him in games. And the more she tries, the more she falls. Why? Because now she's chasing, and that changes everything. See, most men live in reverse. They give power, they give attention, they give control, hoping they'll earn affection. But the men who women obsess over are the ones who hold their frame. That's the brutal truth. The frame is everything. It's not about being rude. It's not about being cold. It's about boundaries. It's about self-respect. It's about knowing that you are the prize. Because when a man knows he's the prize, he stops negotiating his value. He doesn't explain why he's busy. He doesn't chase someone who pulled away. He doesn't let disrespect slide just because she's pretty. He holds his ground, and women feel it deeply, instinctively. Because this man is rare. He's a storm in silence. He's everything she wants but can't manipulate. And that right there is the switch. You go from option to obsession, but it takes brutal honesty with yourself to get there. You have to face the part of you that still wants approval, that still fears rejection, that still chases validation and female attention. That's your test. Not the women, not the dates, not the apps. Your test is, can you choose yourself first, even when it's lonely? Can you walk away from beauty because your peace costs more? Can you say no without guilt? Can you sit in silence and not reach out just to feel important? Because that silence is power, that restraint is masculinity, that stillness is magnetic. And every woman on some level is scanning for it. She may not say it. She may not even realize it. But she feels it. You've seen it happen. The quiet guy who walks in the room and says nothing, yet everyone turns. He's not the loudest, not the best looking. But there's something, that something is called non-neediness. It's called presence. It's called being full within yourself. No holes to fill, no wounds to bandage, no fake confidence to prove. You've done the work. You've faced the mirror. You've built the foundation. And that makes you unshakable. So when a woman steps to you, she doesn't feel desperation. She feels decision. She feels direction. She feels depth. And that's rare. Most guys are paper thin. They collapse under pressure. They shift when challenged. They fold just to keep her smiling. But you hold the line. Because you know who you are, you know what you want, and you're not afraid to walk away from anything that costs your peace. That's the brutal truth. The man who is willing to walk away is the one she'll chase, because she can't wrap her fingers around him, because she knows he's not here to be chosen. He's here to choose. That's why women find him irresistible. So let me speak directly to the version of you that's tired. Tired of being ghosted. Tired of being the backup plan. Tired of pouring energy into women who don't see your worth. Let me say this to you with full fire in my voice. Stop asking to be picked. Start becoming undeniable. Because when you become a man of high standards, high direction, and high self-worth, you don't chase women. You attract options. You attract respect. You attract peace. And from that place, you choose the woman who matches your kingdom. Not the one who drains it. Not the one who tests it. Not the one who plays games with it. But that shift, that magnetism, it all starts with this brutal truth. You don't need her. You've already got what matters. Your pure path, your peace. Everything else, Sig, is a bonus. And the irony. Once you stop needing her, she can't stop thinking about you. That's the truth. That's the switch. That's the power. So rise up. Level up. Detach from the lies society taught you. Burn the blueprint of the desperate man. And become the man whose presence is a privilege. Because that man, he doesn't just get attention, he commands devotion. And when you finally become him, you'll never chase again, you'll never beg again, you'll never settle again. Because now you know, you are the gravity, and she'll feel it every single time. Most men, misguided by movies, media, and desperation, chase attraction like it's something to be earned through performance. They start hitting the gym, not for health, but to build a body that might finally get noticed. They buy expensive clothes, rehearse clever pickup lines, and even inflate their financial worth just to appear more desirable. They wear masks of confidence, hoping someone will believe in it more than they do. But here's the truth that flips everything. True irresistible power doesn't come from what you show the world. It comes from what you believe about yourself when no one's watching. It's not about how you look in a mirror. It's about what you feel in the silence. It's not your car, your watch, or your wallet. It's your conviction. It's not the image you polish. It's the identity you own. Because real attraction isn't about seduction, it's about certainty. Women don't fall for a man just because he has status or charm. They fall for the energy behind his presence. The energy of a man who believes deep in his bones that he is enough, that he doesn't need to compete, prove, or chase, that his value is non-negotiable, that believe that internal alignment, it speaks louder than any outfit, it's stronger than any line, it's more seductive than any gift. When you walk into a room with quiet self-assurance, you shift the atmosphere, not because of what you say, but because of what you carry. And most men, they never unlock that, because they're too busy becoming someone they think women want, instead of becoming the man they were born to be. But once you stop changing your outer shell and start strengthening your inner world, your standards, your peace, your direction, everything shifts. You stop performing. You stop apologizing. You stop begging to be seen. Because you already see yourself. And that is what women truly can't resist. The brutal truth is this: women are magnetically drawn to the man who doesn't need them. Not in a cold, dismissive way. Not in a "I don't care about anyone" kind of way, but in a deeply grounded, unshakable way. In the way that says, I am complete, I am whole, I am not seeking permission to exist. And that kind of man, he's rare, he's dangerous, in the most attractive way. Because he's not reaching out to be rescued, he's not addicted to being praised, he's not built on compliments, attention, or being liked. See, most men operate from a silent hunger, a hunger to be told they're good enough, a hunger to feel accepted, a hunger to be chosen. And you can feel it in their energy, the way they over-explain, the way they overgive, the way they over-pursue. All of it screams, please validate me, please show me I matter, please don't leave. But the man who doesn't need that, who doesn't chase her approval, he shifts everything. Because now he's not interacting with her from lack, he's interacting with her from abundance. And that is powerful. He's not trying to fill a void. He's not afraid of her silence. He's not shaken by her mood swings. Why? Because he's emotionally self-sufficient. And in a world full of emotionally reactive men, this man becomes a lighthouse. He becomes peace. He becomes certainty. He becomes the still point in her chaos. She can't shake him. She can't seduce him into losing control. She can't bait him into chasing her just to feel desired. And the more he doesn't need her, the more she wants him. Because now, it's no longer about control. It's about respect. She respects that he's not trying to win her. She respects that his self-worth doesn't rise or fall with her attention. She respects that he's not emotionally starving. And that scares her in the best way possible. Because it means she can't manipulate him. And let's be brutally honest. Most women are used to having that power. But when they meet a man who doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, and doesn't fall for the trap of needing to be needed, they feel something rare. They feel drawn to him, compelled by him, intrigued by him. Because now, it's not about who he's trying to be for her. It's about who he already is. And that man, that's the man she can't stop thinking about. That's the man she's afraid to lose. That's the man who becomes unforgettable. So remember this, Zhang Zhou's validation is a drug. The more you need it, the less powerful you become. But when you cut the cord, when you rise above needing approval, attention, or emotional rescue, you become what only a few men ever become: irresistible, unshakable, magnetic. Not because you're perfect, but because you no longer chase love. You attract it by being whole without it. 95.7% of women aren't chasing looks, money, or charm the way most men believe. They're chasing something deeper, something almost invisible but undeniable. They crave energy. The energy of a man who walks into a room and doesn't need to announce himself, because his presence already did. The man who doesn't have to speak to be heard, who doesn't have to prove to be respected, who doesn't have to convince to be wanted. They crave the energy of a man who moves like he knows exactly who he is, even if he says nothing at all. That kind of energy. It can't be taught in a course. It can't be borrowed from someone else. And it sure as hell can't be faked. Because it's not about what's on the outside, it's about what's routed inside. It's the result of inner mastery, the deep self work no one sees. It's the result of emotional detachment, the discipline to stay grounded no matter who enters or exits your life. It's the result of unapologetic standards, the refusal to compromise your values just to be liked, desired, or accepted. And that's what women feel. Even if they can't explain it, they sense it. They sense when a man is at home in his own skin. They sense when a man isn't easily swayed. They sense when a man isn't performing. He's embodying. And that energy, it's magnetic. It doesn't ask for attention. It pulls attention, not because he's trying to impress anyone else, but because his entire being says, I know who I am, I know what I want, and I won't lose myself for anyone. And when a man moves like that, he becomes unforgettable, unshockable, unreachable to the average. Women don't obsess over men they can predict. They obsess over men who don't bend, men who don't flinch, men who remain solid no matter how loud the world gets. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It's the product of a man who's put in the work, who's bled, healed, rebuilt, and sharpened. A man who doesn't just set boundaries, he embodies them. That's what 95 to 7% of women are drawn to. Not a man with flashy lines, but a man with a fortress of self respect. So if you want to become truly irresistible, stop obsessing over what to say or how to act, and start mastering your energy. Because the truth is, you don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to beg for connection. You don't need to change who you are to be accepted. You just need to own who you are, completely, unapologetically, silently. And that energy, that's what women will crave. That's what they'll remember. That's what they'll chase, long after the noise dies down.